Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Frost. Today, I am bringing you guys another episode prediction video for this week's up-and-coming episode of The Walking Dead. This is Season 7, Episode 13, entitled Bury Me Here. Now, as always, this will contain minor spoilers for previous episodes of The Walking Dead because I'm trying to predict some things that are happening, okay? So with that being said, alright, synopsis for this episode is as follows. You guys can follow along in the description. Click on the link to AMC, and you can check out the synopsis there as well. So Season 7, Episode 13, entitled Bury Me Here. The synopsis goes as follows. Things do not go as planned when a group of Kingdomers delivers goods to the Saviors during a routine supply drop-off. Now, we've seen this drop-off go down a few times now, all right? And every single time, tensions are usually high. Last time in particular, they were the highest, okay? We know that Richard and one of the Saviors, they got into a heated argument. Richard actually ended up giving him his gun. Morgan intervened as well, basically hitting him with his staff, and he actually ended up getting his staff taken away. That's obviously a loss for Morgan, but it is what it is. He stepped up, he protected Richard, okay? That's what he did. Now, ever since then, Richard's been sort of on this quest to find a way for the Kingdom to join the attack in the Saviors, okay? Now, whether or not he's going to find a way in this episode, my prediction is he's probably going to set something in motion. That's what I'm personally guessing. And the reason for that is because, I mean, he's sort of just... that's all he's got left, in a way, you know? That's really all that he's got left. He doesn't like this life of having to deal with the Saviors. And what I'm really wondering here is whether or not Ezekiel will actually leave him home at the Kingdom, like he said that he would last time. Now, I'm guessing not, and there's probably going to be more tensions high in this meeting between the Saviors and the Kingdomers. And by the way of that, I think that things are going to get pretty out of hand in terms of even to the point of Ezekiel, you know, pointing a gun at the Saviors, which is what we actually get to see in this promo. So first things first here, guys. The promo for this episode and the sneak peek actually as well. This episode looks like it's all the Kingdom. It's all the Kingdom. It's all somewhat the Saviors, but it's mostly based on the Kingdom. Ezekiel, Carol, Morgan, all that group, okay? Now, what's exciting about that is the last time that we had that episode was episode 2 of Season 7. Now, I'm excited to have another Kingdom-only episode. At the same time, you know, that obviously means less Rick, less Alexandria and stuff like that, but it's not really a problem. You know, we haven't really got to meet the Kingdom in a way that we get to connect with them, you know, a lot, you know, and I think that this is a better episode for the most part, mostly because we just came off of a Saviors Only episode, and then, of course, right after that, we had basically Rick and Michonne and Rosita highlighting the entire last episode, which is totally fine. They're finding guns, they're getting things done. But in terms of the way the Kingdom is going to eventually join the fight, I think this episode is a much needed episode. You know what I mean? Because they're going to take this entire episode and most likely have some development towards the fight and them joining the fight, you know? So that's kind of what makes me think that Richard is really going to put his plan into motion. Obviously, his last plan of just sacrificing Carol didn't go off without a hitch, you know what I mean? He got the shit kicked out of him by Daryl. Now, there has been rumors going around, I don't want to say any spoilers or anything like that, that he does end up putting a plan into motion and unfortunately getting somebody killed. We might see Crazy Morgan back. I'm excited, you know, for that. Really what drives Morgan to do exactly what he does, if that actually happens. But if not, not really a problem, you know what I mean? It's just sort of a thought, you know, and even if you really think about it, we've kind of come to see Morgan almost breaking by himself, you know what I mean? Him especially intervening with Richard in the last episode where they actually did a supply drop-off to the Saviors. Now, also in this promo, we get to see Carol again, basically going on a walk, we assume, to the Kingdom. That's later revealed in the sneak peek. It's just a longer version of what we see in the promo. And she goes to the Kingdom. She looks to be asking Morgan, you know, is everyone all right? Is everybody alive? You know, stuff like that. Obviously, she doesn't really 100% believe Daryl and what Daryl told her about, you know, everybody being fine and everybody being okay. She probably put 2 and 2 together eventually. And she sort of figured that, you know, everything's probably not okay. And she ends up asking Morgan, at least we assume it's Morgan, but she ends up asking Morgan that he doesn't really give her a definitive answer, in the promo at least. He might in the TV show, we don't know. In the actual episode, rather. We have no idea, at this point. There's no really footage or information on whether or not she will find out, but she certainly looks badass again, in the way of killing walkers, at least. And I don't think that she's ever really lost that touch. It's just she doesn't really want to kill humans anymore, but I feel like that's going to change if she finds out about Glenn and Abraham and, Spencer and Olivia and Denise and everybody who's died to the Saviors, everybody that they've lost, especially Glenn and Abraham. I think that's probably going to change, and it will hurt her in the long run, but I feel like if Morgan breaks, she can break. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be an even, There has to be a centralized mindset that can get you through the life with killing people, but only if you need to kill people. You don't just go around like a savage like she used to and kill everybody she sees that ever does something wrong. You know what I mean? There's a balance to it, and she just has to find that, and I feel like this is probably a step in the right direction to finding it. Now, also within this promo, we get to see a lot of Ezekiel and a lot of the Kingdomers. Again, them holding their gun up to what we presume is the Saviors. The Saviors saying a couple of things as well, and especially Ezekiel talking throughout this entire promo, basically talking about how bad the world has gotten in many different ways, and stuff like that. And there was a quote to it. I don't exactly remember it at this point, but it's definitely interesting. You know what I mean? And a part in the promo is when Ezekiel and the Kingdomers, that including Jerry, Morgan, Richard, Ben actually as well. There's a little grave site there with a sign that said, "Bury me here." I wonder what that means. Who's that for? Who said, "Bury me here"? That is obviously where the title comes from. Whoever is making the grave and saying, "Bury me here," that's obviously where the title's coming from. But we have no really clue, as to who that is, whose grave site that is. Now, in terms of the promo, that's pretty much it, guys. There was a lot of other scenes in there, very quick. A lot of it was really Carol traveling to the kingdom and talking to Morgan and stuff like that. So it's not really a promo that got really, all combined together, all merged together, and we can't really pick out pieces. But it was a really simple promo as to what we're used to in a way, And the sneak peek, much of the same. It's really just Carol on her way to the kingdom. She comes across some walkers, actually perches herself up in a tree and starts killing them with a one-way traffic sign, which I thought was a really cool thing. And not like the sign part either, like stabbing them through the head with the actual end of the pole. Obviously, a pole fell over, maybe something ran it over. It's an apocalypse, you know what I mean? It happens. But with that being said, she gets to the kingdom. They open the gates. Ben just basically says, we were about to come out here and clear the walkers. And she basically just cuts the chase and says, "Where's Morgan?" And then just constantly asks that after Ben's sort of avoiding the question for some reason. So I'm wondering what's going on there. I don't know if there's really a reason for him to avoid the question. Maybe he's just trying to understand why she is there at the moment. I don't think anything's going to happen to Morgan or anything like that. But I am pretty excited to see Carol back in somewhat of a badass form, at least killing walkers and at least, being like the old Carol, in that sense, right? Now, as far as her killing anybody or fighting anybody, I think that she might find out about Glenn and Abraham in this episode. I don't know exactly if Morgan is going to tell her. I kind of have a feeling that maybe he's going to try to guilt trip her into going back to Alexandria to find out, for herself. And who knows? That might actually work. You know what I mean? Who knows? We have no idea at this point. But that definitely would be interesting, to say the least, is her going back to Alexandria. That would be something that I would love to see. I really would. Now, with that being said, everybody, that's pretty much it for the promo and the sneak peek. All in all, I think that we're going to get to see a lot of things going on in this episode, especially between the Saviors and the Kingdomers. Tensions are going to be very high. I have a feeling somebody in the kingdom is going to die. I'm kind of leaning towards Ben, you know what I mean? The kid. That would probably set Morgan off if something happened to Ben. One of the Saviors killed them, or, something happened to Ben. I think that would really set Morgan off. I really would. And that would be pretty good development. I don't necessarily want Ben to die. He's a cool kid and everything. and he's obviously learning with the bow staff and stuff like that, and I think that's really interesting, but I don't know. I think that would be a step in the right direction of Morgan's character development and him finding his balance between, you know, completely psycho Morgan and pacifist Morgan. You know what I mean? And if we get to see that, if we get to see a balance with him, then there's always the hope of Carol finding her balance as well, which I believe is probably on the horizon as well. And with that being said, everybody, I mean, it's a Kingdom only episode. There's not really much to be said. There's only one sneak peek and one promo. That's all we have to go on. I'm definitely excited to see this episode. Hopefully you guys are as well. I'm sure as hell going to be tuning in. And make sure you guys tune back in on Monday, too, for my episode review of Season 7, Episode 13, entitled Bury Me Here. We only have 4 episodes left. Episode 13, 14, 15, and 16, of course. And that's going to be it for the season. So what are we going to end on? We have no idea at this point. But I'm definitely excited for it, man. It gets better and better. It really does. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye.
I said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. And you've been waiting for me all night. She said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Now I don't wanna waste more time. I said, let's hit the bar. I'm pouring up a shot, and then I wanna know if you're ready or not. She said, hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Come and show me what you got. Show me what you got. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you've been waiting for me all night.